Hello, good day. If you're watching this video, I wanna greet you a good day today. I am your teacher in creative nonfiction. There's no need to introduce myself. I know nakilala na ninyo ako. And I'm doing this video because I think there's a need for me to do it. Number one reason, may subject tayo nung nakaraang SEM, which is creative writing. And unfortunately, there are some of you who were not able to finish all activities kasi mahirap daw. Yes, I know na mahirap talaga ang mag-answer ng module without the guidance of teacher. But what can we do? We are in the new normal. I am doing my best to reach you out in this new subject that you have with me. So let's bear with one another. Okay? Another reason why I'm videoing myself, recording myself, is that marami sa inyong nagsasend sa akin ng PM sa Messenger, and the same question is being asked again and again and again. So I don't want to repeat myself over and over again, so I am doing this video, and I hope that this will guide you in answering your module. So you can see my screen. Ipapakita ko sa inyo screen. This is the exact module that we sent you ngayong trek lang. Okay? So, if you have your module with you, I want you to bring it out. Huwag nyo akong pansinin. Just focus on the module that I am showing on screen. Okay? Alright, so dapat meron kayong dalawang module for this trek. The first module is themes and techniques. So, for this video, I will be focusing on the themes and techniques. So if you have your module with you, you have to take it out and then let's answer it all together. Okay? I will not answer, by the way. You will answer. I will just tell you kung anong gagawin niyo sa mga learning task. Okay? Hindi ako magdi-discuss ng mga lessons dito. Magdi-discuss naman ako, but it's just for short time. Okay? I will just, the main point of this video is to guide you in the activity. If I think I need to discuss, then I will discuss. Okay? Pero konti lang. Not totally discuss all of the content of the module that was given to you. Kayo ang bahalang magbasa dyan. I will guide you. Okay? Alright. So, this is a new subject with me. This is creative nonfiction. Creative nonfiction. Ito, katuloy ito ng creative writing. This is a subject, a sequel to creative writing. If you did not understand what creative writing is during the first semester, mahihirapan kayo dito sa creative nonfiction. But let's see kung anong magagawa natin. Okay? This is a new subject for GAS only. Kayo lang ang may subject nito. So, wala kayong excuse, wala kayong kokopyahan. Okay? Na ibang kaklase, ibang section, I mean, kayo lang ang may subject nito. Okay, so let's start. So I hope that you're already holding the module while you're watching this. Okay, so the title of your module is Themes and Techniques. By the way, before we start talking about themes and techniques, there are things na kailangan nyong malaman about creative nonfiction. During the first semester, your subject with me was creative writing. You wrote stories, you read some ways on how you can write a story. Pero unfortunately, most of you did not come up with the story na gusto ko. Most of you did not apply kung ano yung mga nabasa. Okay? Possibly, maraming busy sa inyo. Possibly, tinatamad yung iba. But this time, I hope na sana naman mag-improve dito sa subject na to ngayon. Okay? During your creative writing, you're writing about fiction, which means yung hindi totoo. That's why I ask you to write a story which is not true. Yung hindi totoo. Remember, Aldrin Marquez and Adonis, ang pinagawa ko sa kanila is a story of a hero. Ayun. it's not based on facts. Or it's not true, I mean. But now, meron na naman kayong bagong subject which is creative nonfiction. Ngayon, ito ang pagkakaiba nila. In this subject, you will be writing something which is based on facts. It's in your module. Let's browse it. You will be writing something based on facts. Yung totoo. Okay? You are not going to make up things. Yung totoong totoo dapat, yung kung ano yung nangyayari, isulat mo, gagawa ka ng kwento about that. Another one, it's based on research. So you cannot make up things. It's based on reportage or reporting. So there are times that you will be conducting interviews and other ways to prove that that is really true. Ganun yun, creative nonfiction. It's also sometimes based on personal experiences. Yung mga nangyari sa buhay ninyo, you write it down. It's also based on explanation and exposition. And lastly, mostly essay format, yung outputs dito. Okay? So I hope that introduction will help you understand kung yung subject na ito ngayon. Okay. Now, in addition, you will be writing based on facts, but in the most creative way. Now, the question is, Sir, paano namin gagawin creative yung pagsusulat namin na nakabase sa totoong nangyari? Okay. Now, techniques. Doon na tayo mag-focus sa techniques. I will be showing you some techniques which are not in your module, but nandyan sa module nyo, however, it was not thoroughly discussed. This was discussed during the creative writing. So I will show it to you and hopefully you can gain ideas about these techniques. Paano natin gagawin creative yung kwento ninyo later on. Okay. First technique that I am going to show you is imagery. Okay. Imagery. So, imagery. It's imagery. Oh, wait. Just a minute. Alright, imagery. So, for imagery, for example, you are reading this line, a field of bright yellow flowers lay beautifully in front of me. Ang imagery, it's the mental picture that is being painted in your mind while reading a line or a certain story. I want to ask you this. Habang binabasa nyo itong line na ito, is there an image painted in your mind which is like this? If there is, that is imagery. You have possibly come up with an image like this. Okay, another one. The big juicy burger with its melted cheese and red tomatoes made my mouth water and my stomach grumble. Okay, may nalasahan ba kayo? Meron bang, kumbaga, pumitik sa dila ninyo nung binasa ninyo itong line na to? If there is, that is imagery. Okay? You could have possibly seen or visualized this kind of image. That is imagery. So that's one technique. Imagery is the mental picture, as I have said. Okay? It's the mental picture. Now, imagery appeals directly to one or more of the five senses. So it's not just visual, but pwede ring other senses. We have five senses. What are those senses? It's visual, what you see; auditory, what you hear; kinesthetic, what you feel; olfactory, what you smell; gustatory, what you taste. So those are the imagery. Okay, magbigay tayo ng example. Visual, just like our first example, when you read the line, merong picture na nakikita kayong parang may flower sa paligid, that's visual. Okay, the second example earlier is gustatory. It's a burger, okay? A burger. So, parang nafe-feel mo na ito yung gusto niyang sabihin kasi parang nakaka-taste ka na ng burger, na i-visualize mo yung burger, tapos gusto mo kainin yung burger. Things like those. That's one technique. Okay, another technique that I hope you learned from your creative writing is about figures of speech. There are a lot of figures of speech out there. To name a few, eto yun. There are different figures of speech. I am going to show you some only, okay? Mabilisan lang for the sake of this video. Commonly used figures of speech, for example, alliteration. When it is alliteration, there is a repetition. What is being repeated? Consonant sounds. Example, you'll never put a better bit of butter on your knife. There is a sound which is repeated. And what's the sound? The sound is letter B. Consonant letter B. Okay. I saw Susie sitting in a shoe shine shop. Where she sits, she shines. Where she shines, she sits. It's the letter S which is being repeated. That's alliteration. Second, anaphora. Again, repetition of a word or phrase. Okay, let me show you. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight within growing confidence. Blah 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 blah. The word or the phrase "we shall" is always being repeated. That makes it anaphora. Next one, antithesis. An opposition or contrast of ideas of two opposite. An opposition or contrast of ideas. Two opposite ideas are put together to achieve contrasting effects. Okay. Speech is silver but silence is gold. There are two contrasting ideas here. What are the idea? Speech versus silence. Silver versus gold. Those are two opposite things placed together. Two opposite ideas. Okay? Speech, you're speaking. And then merong siyang silence. How can you speak na sinasabi niyang silence? Parang ganun. Okay? Kinokontra. Nagkokontrahan. Okay, next one. Apostrophe. For apostrophe, you speak into an object who doesn't exist as if it is a living person. One object wherein you're talking as if it is a person. Hello darkness, my old friend. I come to talk to you again. It is as if you're talking to darkness na parang tao si darkness. That's apostrophe. Okay? Euphemism. Ito, pinapalambot yung matitigas na salita. Yung hindi katanggap-tanggap sa damdamin. Okay? Example. Ukay-ukay is somewhat offensive. Instead of using ukay-ukay, you say pre-loved. Instead of saying second-hand, you say pre-loved. Okay, that's euphemism. Hyperbole, you know that already. It's an exaggeration. Irony is another example of contrasting idea. It's the use of words to convey the opposite of their literal meaning. Okay, for example, a pilot with the fear of height. How can a pilot become a pilot kung takot siya sa height? Most of the time, nasa himpapawid siya. So, it's an opposite, contrasting to its literal meaning. Okay? That's irony. Lastly, metaphor, kasi marami pa tayong i-discuss or marami pa akong i-example sa inyo. Metaphor, it's comparison. However, it's not obvious. Unlike simile, for simile, you will be using the word as or like. For metaphor, it's not obvious. Time is thief, for example. Time is thief. Time is thief. Time is compared to a thief. Pero hindi ginamitan ng like or as. It's not obviously comparing. It's just, it's comparing, however, it's not obvious. Okay? Alright. So, another technique is the plot. Okay, plot. It's not a plot na nagagarden ka. Plot is the arrangement of events in your story. Maboboring yung babasa ng kwento ninyo if it's a simple plot. What is a simple plot? Okay, this one. Chronological or sequential. This is a simple plot. Paano magpo-flow yung kwento ninyo? If it is chronological or sequential, okay, it looks like this. There is a beginning, there is middle, there is ending. Okay, for example, ako, I started my day, take a bath, I went to school, I made this video, and then I went home. That's chronological sequential. Okay. That's a very simple plot. Okay? Another example, Lisa bikes on a Sunday, Lisa studies on a Monday, Lisa swims on a Tuesday. Chronological, sunod-sunod siya. Okay? Alright. Another is en medias res or en mediare. They also call it en mediare. But let's not focus on the pronunciation. What is this? Okay, it's like this. The story starts in the middle. Wala kang idea bakit nagsimula sa ganito. Nung unang part ng kwento mo, bakit dito nagsimula? Parang may mali. But it's actually a technique. Okay, it goes like this. Story starts in the middle without exposition. Okay, bigla-bigla na lang nag-start sa middle na wala kang idea. Pag natapos mo na yung kwento, saan mo na lang sasabihin, okay, I get the point. Okay, example. When she woke up that afternoon with a headache, Jazz could only remember two things. One, someone had broken into her home, and two, that person had not been alone. Nag-start yung kwento nung nakahandusay na siya. Okay? The story was completed at the end. And it somehow turns back to what happened on the first part na merong pumasok dun sa room niya. Okay? That's en mediare. It started in the middle and then all of a sudden iikot na yung kwento. Hanggang sa mabuo. Okay? That's en mediare. Another one, we also have flashback. So for flashback, you know that already. For flashback, it goes back to the past. Okay. So there are movies like that. There are flashbacks. So for example, Lisa studies on Monday. Lisa daydreams of a bike ride from Sunday. Lisa swims on Tuesday. Bumabalik sa past. Okay? There's an interruption of the past events. The opposite of flashback is flash forward. Okay? Flash forward, on the other hand, is an interruption. Flash forward after 10 years, after 4 years, things like those. Okay? Those are for plot. That's another technique. Alright. So I guess that's enough. Now let's proceed kung ano talaga yung focus ng video na to. Our main focus is to help you out in answering the learning task. Okay, let's start with learning task 1. This is 10 points or 15 points. 10 points. You know what? It's a KWL, it's opinionated. All you have to do is to write what you know about creative nonfiction. What you want to know about creative nonfiction. And then, what I learned, do not answer this because wala pa nga akong tinuturo, diba? This is a beginning of the session or of the subject. So, wala pang tinuturo. First module nyo pa lang ito. So, you will only answer this after all of the modules are done. 5 points each. What you know about creative nonfiction and what you want to know more about it. That's learning task number 1. That's 10 points. Learning task number 2. Okay. There are 3 columns. First column, element of fiction, character, setting, theme, point of view, and plot. I want you to define those terms in your own words. I want you to define it in your own words. I repeat, in your own words. Do not copy from the internet because I'm reading your answers. If I see you copying in toto, or if I notice that you're copying in toto, I will not consider it. It's your own definition. Okay? And then, in the third column, i-check nyo lang yan. Will it be present still in creative nonfiction? Ito kasi mga to, you already learned this during your creative writing. Now, do you think present pa rin kaya siya sa creative nonfiction? If yes, then check. If not, then no. Okay? Alright, learning tasks number 3. Now, you are going to focus on the theme. You select 3 movies or a story that you have read, and then 3, and then identify what do you think is the common theme. By the way, theme means the idea behind the story. Okay? The idea behind the story. What is the common theme of the 3 movies that you have identified? Okay? For example, I will give you an example. See, Aquaman, Spider-Man, and Aquaman, Spider-Man, Superman. The theme of the 3, common theme, yung pareho sa kanila, is heroism. You know why? They are superheroes na nagtatanggol sa mga nahahappy. So that's why it's heroism. Okay? The theme is heroism. But you don't only have to say heroism, i-explain nyo naman kung bakit heroism. Okay? That's learning task number 3. Let's proceed to learning task number 4. For learning task number 4, identification plus explanation. Write the technique used in each line and then explain why. There are choices here. You read the statement first. Identify kung anong technique yung ginamit dito. If you're not familiar with some of the terms, you can research about this. Okay? Some are already discussed, some are not. So it's your own initiative to research for the answer for this. Anong technique ang ginamit dito? Choose from this and then you have to explain it. Okay? Your explanation matters. This is 1, 2, 3, 15 points again, 5 points each. Okay? Next, learning task number 5. Now, kailangan yung basahin yung nandun sa taas, yung 5 hours of non-fiction. This one. There is a reading selection about festival. You read this. And then below, there are things that you have to answer. Okay, let me explain. Comment and observations. Okay. Question for number 1. Real life. Was there any real life situation na na-mention sa story sa taas? Write it down. Ano yun? Reflection. Was there a time that the author reflected? Mayroon bang time na nakapag-isip-isip siya ng something dito sa selection? Write it down. Was there a part in the reading selection na based on research? Write it down. Was there a part in the text na binasa ng author tapos sinulat niya? Na based on what he have read, sinulat niya ulit yun. Meron bang ganon? Reading, never mind reading, do not answer. Or I mean writing, do not answer writing. Okay. Learning task number 6, still connected to learning task number 5. Ito naman, imagery. So for imagery, all you have to do is write the line from this selection na merong imagery na visual, auditory, olfactory, gustatory, tactile, or kinesthetic. Let me explain. Visual, yung nakikita. Auditory, yung naririnig. Olfactory, yung aamoy. Gustatory, yung nafe-feel. And tactile, gustatory is na lalasahan, and the tactile kinesthetic is what you feel. Okay? Write the line taken from the reading selection. Okay? And learning task number 7, you have to read another story, and then below, you have to identify what is the theme of the story. Ano yung ginamit na narrative structure? Go back to the part where I discussed plot, and you have to determine what plot was used. Diction or voice style, ang isasagot nyo dito, was the were the words used simple or complex? When we say simple, it's easy to understand. It uses a language na kalye, for example, gay lingo, yung mga bang madali lang maintindihan na language. Or was it complex? Was it highfalutin? Were the words used highfalutin? Things like those. And then I have also to identify one figurative language that was used. Okay? And lastly, was there a personal reflection again in the story? And then kailangan nyo mag-explain ulit dito. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 30 points. And then lastly, don't forget to answer this reflection or closure. And then you're good to go. Okay? So that's all that I want you to know for today. I hope that this video will help you in finishing the activities. I hope that this video will help you in accomplishing it in the right way. Okay? This is your teacher Tom, and good luck. The next video will come up soon. I will be giving you some guide videos again for the next module. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.